Okay boys, we've got a little bit of a role reversal for this replay. We got Pig Killer and we got Feg. But today, Pig Killer isn't playing as the Imperial Guard, Pig Killer is playing as the Apothecary, whereas Feg is rocking the Imperial Guard. I don't know if these guys just got sick of playing the matchup, maybe there was a little bit of a debate about balance and it was like, well, you know what, how about we switch it up? And we'll see how easy it is for you from the other perspective. But wow. Okay, we need to turn off the in-game music. Sorry about that. Yeah, I always see Pig Killer play on this map. He must love it. I wonder if Pig Killer hosts the 1v1 lobbies. He's always playing Ashes of Typhon. We've got a Death Corps of Krieg Commissar. Very nice. So, nothing particularly unusual so far. Pretty weird colour scheme. I'm not sure how I feel about the big glowing helmets. And you know what? I really don't like the oily sentinels. Looks like something that someone would shove up their arse, to be honest. Alright. Sentinel doing what it can, scouting out, forcing a little bit of chip onto the APO, but of course the Sentinel ideally wants to find the scouts. It doesn't want to find the tactical marines. It's alright with the APO, I guess, poking at that. I think he wastes his healing himself. But yeah, it doesn't want to be near the tactical marines, so the tactical marines screen the Sentinel so that you don't incur any bleed. The Sentinel goes off, of course, tries to hunt down these scouts, and just try and put on a bit of bleed on the scouts. Sentinel needs to be careful here, needs to really just back out, yeah, or it can potentially die. Kraken rounds procced onto the tactical marines, increasing the damage against the Sentinel by 20%. It's something, but now the Commissar wants to be engaging the tactical marines because he can just mitigate any of the bleed that they could inflict on guardsmen by tying them up in melee. This is exactly textbook from both sides. So the tactical marines, isolated here, no support, they need to back off. Can't do anything against the Commissar in melee, certainly not when he has guardsman support. The APO, on the other hand, has actually caught out some guardsmen on their own. If you can kill a couple of these guardsmen, it'd be nice. You want to try and get as many levels as you can in your Apothecary, because if he hits level 3, that makes his healing stronger. The stronger you heal, the better for this matchup. Trust me, you're going to need a lot of healing on your tactical marines, because they're going to take a lot of damage from ranged. APO, honestly, getting precariously low. Sentinel might even be able to take him out and retreat. No, it looks like he's just going to get out alive. Certainly the Devastator's moving forward there, going to dissuade the Sentinel from pursuing any further and trying to get the kill and retreat. I think if the Devastators weren't there and the Sentinel did chase, he would have got that kill. Not worth it though when the Devastators could have killed your Sentinel. The Requisition is far more valuable as the IG player in this matchup than it is for the Space Marine player. Because the IG can bleed, the Space Marine really shouldn't be bleeding at all. It's not rare in high level matchups between SM and IG that in tier 1 the SM will only lose like 3 models or so, even when the IG plays it very well. Because what are they losing models to? IG has no real melee DPS. A Commissar? Well, he does crap DPS anyway. Unless they get the power sword. Just saying. Pretty even matchup so far. The only thing I will note is that Pig Killer is doing a lot better on the BPs. I guess that's because of the APO being very aggressive here and forcing off the guardsmen. So Sentinel rotates, pushes back the tactical marines, but in turn they're going to fall back to the safety of the Devastators. They're going to set up a nice bit of covering fire. However, looks like the heavy bolters are going to set up first. No, mistake from Feg there. He sets up his heavy bolters and actually focuses on the tax first. So that allows the devs to get their initial barrage, and now the setup teams are kind of suppressing one another, but yeah, it looks like they're fine. Supporting fire of the Sentinel is going to be enough that the Devastators need to run off here. Bit of sloppy micro from Pig Killer, losing 2 scouts down there, really unnecessary. You know you're not going to win the firefights against guardsmen with unupgraded scouts, so, you know, Lasguns don't kill scouts that fast. You have plenty of time to react and retreat. Obviously he was focusing elsewhere there. ASM for the moment going to be causing a lot of problems because, like I say, there's not a lot of melee DPS in the field. Obviously ASM are very robust against ranged with their protection against range when they're in melee, which pretty much all melee units get, and then the heavy infantry on top of that. But now we're seeing some upgrades on the Lord Commissar, and really the purchase of the ASM kind of justifies these upgrades. Now he can just get stuck into melee and do insane damage to the ASM, because whilst the IG lack a lot of ways to deal with melee troops, or at least output a lot of melee damage, the Space Marines just don't do much damage at all, so they're not really very good at focusing down the Lord Commissar. Now he's got an armor that gives him 200 extra max HP and 2.5 HP per second regen, so it's going to be a bit of a nuisance. Now he does actually get forced off in that instance, but not before taking off a lot of the HP of the ASM. Now, one thing that the APO can do in particular, and one of the reasons why the APO is probably one of the better heroes in this matchup, if not the best hero for the Space Marines, he can get that Bolter. The Bolter has the full auto ability, which does a lot of single target damage and stun to a single model. So you can use that on the Lord Commissar to do a lot of damage to him, control him, and stop him doing quite as much damage to the ASM when they are attacking. Pig Killer being a little bit greedy here, I don't like it. Losing an ASM model, again, really unnecessary. I don't know why they were so greedy to try and get a decap. Like, is it really worth risking losing an ASM model, which is so expensive to replace, just to decap a requisition point? I don't think so. You want to be playing super conservative against IG. Guardsmen are forced off down the bottom here by the Tactical Marines, a little bit slow on Feg's behalf. Again, not necessary really to be losing 6 Guardsmen. You know, a Guardsman squad can't beat a Tactical Marine squad on their own. Certainly not if they haven't got plasma guns and upgrades. But both players are going to tier 2 at relatively similar time. Interestingly, Pig Killer is actually going to get there first, which I feel like is quite rare. I wonder, I actually missed it in this game. I don't know when the players actually purchased their generators. I don't know if Feg was a little bit late on it. That said, Feg has plenty of upgrades here. He's gone for Flamers on his Guardsman, he's gone for the Carapace armor and the Power Sword on the Lord Commissar, he's got Stomp on the Sentinel. I mean, relatively speaking, he's spent a lot more power than Pig Killer has. Maybe. What are we looking at? We're looking at 25, 55, 100. And then we're looking at 25. Oh wow, the Lord Commissar just walked to the Devastators, that's terrible. What is it, 25, 15, 40, what's the Carapace armor these days? Is that like 25 as well? So 65, and then 95. So actually, they're pretty even on power. So I'm guessing this is a generator situation, maybe floating. Either way, doesn't matter. They're both now in tier 2 at pretty much the same time. Neither of them are getting new vehicles yet. Unfortunately for Feg, he has got quite a lot of float on his Lord Commissar. Quite a lot of float in his requisition pool here, so he can easily get back his Lord Commissar. What is he getting? He's getting the Chimera, and he's also getting... Okay, he's repurchased the Commissar, and he's getting Refractor Shield and the Heavy Weapons team. So he's pretty much out of resources now, but a bit of a dodgy flare used there. I don't really like that. Missing the actual Devastators, which are going to be the key unit to win this engagement for Pig Killer. Unfortunately, we do have Soundbug. I suppose that was inevitable. I've done 2 casts today. This is the third, so of course I have to get Soundbug. Hopefully this is the only one I get for a while. We'll see how this engagement plays out. A lot of bleed from the ASM. Okay, so he wins the fight. That's going to be the end of it. I'm going to pause it there, folks, and come back in a second. Okay, folks, we're back now in more or less the same point. So what's going on? I keep getting these guys confused because Pig Killer I casted for 2 games in a row as the IG. Pig Killer has just forced off the IG player Feg and wiped out all of his natural gem farm. But Feg's a sneaky little bugger and has planted a generator over here. Now hopefully for Pig Killer he can go over and destroy this in time, but nah, it looks like that'd be a risky endeavour. Probably going to start bleeding models, might not be worth it. Yeah, the heavy weapons team are actually going to get him. Oh man, oh wow. He gets the gem, but he loses 2 attacks. That's not really worth it. But at least he got the gem. And the commissar is so low. Actually running to the safety of the Chimera. Probably should have just tied up the Apo. I feel like the Apo could have just shot him there and finished him off. Anyway. So there is the counter push, and now it's the question of, is Feg going to be able to destroy all of the gen farm of Pig Killer in return? Probably not, because there is a Dreadnought with an assault cannon, and that is terrifying. Now the last cannon's coming in, the Guardsmen are being sent forward to screen. It's kind of what Guardsmen do, right? I mean, it's not a bad idea actually, because obviously they got the Flamers, so that's scaring the assault cannon Dreadnought. Like, we need to tie that up so he doesn't get the gen farm, but it's give Feg the time to get his last cannon upgrade, so now that's going to push off this Dreadnought. Yeah, we need to get out of there at this point. Nice play with the Sentinel here, decapping both of these contested points once the scouts were forced off by the Guardsmen and the Sentinel. I feel like now that the Dreadnought has gone for an assault cannon, some Ogrins would actually be really nice here. With the support of the Lord Commissar, because he's got that power sword to get into melee, do some good damage, give him inspiration buffs. Yeah, it could be pretty nice. Apo probably wants to get like another Devastator Squad or Heavy Bolters if that happens, and then swap to a Plasma Gun and attacks. Could be a good composition. So. But Ogrins are going to be tough to deal with, you know. Right now there's basically nothing on the field that would scratch them, and they would rip the Dreadnought to pieces because of course it loses its melee resist when it upgrades to that assault cannon. All you got to do is add in a little bit of, well, a snare from the last cannon, any of these mines, a little bit of tickle from the missile launcher, which we now see on the Sentinel. Dreadnought, man, it's going to be in a dodgy position. We see a lot of investment instead has come down onto the stubbornness. They're pretty overrated war gear, I think, at the moment. Probably quite underpowered for the cost. 35 powered is kind of huge, but it does give the... Wow! Wow, Feg. That was a poor play. I assume he was expecting... Oh my god! What was that?! Feg! What? What are you doing? Oh, this is a throw. That was awful. This poor heavy weapons team, man. They were getting out of there. Oh my god, this is capitulation. This is like what happened with Luna in the crypto markets. Holy fucking shit, 98% gone in 24 hours. Let us hope tomorrow we don't lose another 98% like Luna. Jesus Christ. I mean, this is rough for Feg now. He has basically zero capping power. He lost his Sentinels, so they can't support the Guardsmen down here. I mean, wow, this is tough. I don't know what that series of play were, that was awful, but, you know, I got sent this replay because it wasn't over in 10 minutes, so I guess somehow he makes a comeback. I'm all for it, let's see, come on, let's go. Feg, show me your power. Now, you know what I suspect? I suspect we're going to see Bionic Eye on the Commissar, and we're going to see Bionic Eye Ogrins go absolutely fucking mental. So Ogrins come out, they're going to shoot Ripper Guns at scouts, force them off. Commissar uses his Battle Cry, it's going to buff up the damage of the Ogrins, it's going to disrupt the ASM. Ogrins now have 4 Battle Cry buffs, they now have 5, so they're doing 25% extra damage. 30% now. But the ASM are doing a good job controlling the Ogrins. I don't know what the Chimera is doing. I don't know if the Chimera is trying to like path block. The Dreadnought decides to turn around and use the Assault Cannon Barrage. Very questionable because the Ogrins have been meleeing it the entire time, so the Dreadnought is very weak at this point. I don't know if the Ogrins have used your Ed. I feel like they haven't. The Guardsmen definitely need to get out of there. There's no AV on the field. And the Dreadnought is going to dash the Ogrins. Interesting. This is clearly, disclaimer, not the highest level game. But it's a wild game, so we're viewing it nonetheless. Guardsmen try and get out of the Chimera, but they are stupidly low. They really need to stay inside. Commissar is charging at the ASM, which is questionable, because I would be shitting myself right now that the Tactical Marine's got a missile launcher and finished off the Chimera. Fortunately for Feg, that's not the case. But wow, Feg has basically no map control. He is stealing the gens of Pig Killer. Is he actually going to be able to node them? The scouts are taking a long time to get out of the base here and stop this, but they should have time. Especially since the Ogrins went for that play to try and kill the Apo. Yeah, they're not going to have time. I mean, well, I guess they can actually, because they are Ogrins. They are super heavy infantry. The scouts don't really do any damage to them with the shotguns. They could have just finished that cap. They're not going to have time now because they're going to get disrupted by the ASM. So some pretty huge tactical errors there from Feg. He's fucking around with this constantly. Just make your mind up, man. Are you taking the fight or are you not? He could have easily caught that, and honestly, if he noted that power, that would put him in quite an amazing position. Give him a lot of power back. Because ultimately, this is the problem for Feg right now. He's actually behind on VPs by quite a considerable amount, and he also is massively behind in tech. He has basically no power. His army right now is pretty decent. He can definitely take on the Space Marines. I'd say it's actually better than what the Space Marines can field. But when Terminators come, when a Predator comes, this could be a different matter. We've got some Stormtroopers. I mean, that's something. They're staying naked at the moment, no upgrades, so if we do see a Predator come out, then he could get the Melter Stormtroopers, and you know, with a good Melter Bomb, snaring the Predator, the Ogrins could then finish them off, especially with Bionic Eye to buff their speed and damage. I would like to see Bionic Eye. I mean, honestly, the Ogrins are running completely rampant right now. You see them get knocked over by the shotgun scouts. They just did not give a fuck. They actually healed. How did they even heal? Oh, they healed because he's got the Aura of Discipline. Very nice. So the Aura of Discipline heals nearby models, but it heals percentage based, and the percentage it heals is higher or lower. Well, it's higher if you have fewer troops nearby. So watch these Ogrins, right? Look at their HP. Wait for the healing proc from that Aura. Boom! Do you just see that? They just gained a huge amount of HP from that Aura because there's no one else around the Commissar, just the Ogrins, so it's a really nice percentage heal. Let's have a look. Allied Infantry, Radius 20, are healed for 60% of their health every 8 seconds. Wow, that is so strong. So yeah, they get a 16% HP heal every 8 seconds. This Commissar is supporting these Ogrins beautifully right now. They're already level 2. Another thing with Ogrins... Oh, I forgot to neglect... I was kind of neglecting this side, and unfortunately, it looks like some guardsmen got wiped out here by the ASM. Really unfortunate. So now there is basically no capping power down the contested side of the map. Not great. Seeing some Stormtroopers coming out. I think ranged Terminators were a pretty horrible choice, to be honest. Predator probably would have been good. Or honestly, even just a fucking Land Raider Redeemer. Because how the hell is Feg going to kill a Land Raider Redeemer? Normally you wouldn't have the time to get that, but honestly, Pig Killer is up so many VPs at this point that, yeah, I think he definitely would have had the time. Okay, so we see double Melter Stormtroopers now. Very vulnerable, very short-ranged, but they do good damage. So they've got that going for them. They have a massive damage modifier against super heavy infantry. So the Terminators are really quite hard countered here. Nothing can kill the Ogrins. You've got some plasma attacks, but the Ogrins just charge right into them. Okay, Vanguard Veterans, they are going to be a huge help. Wow, the focus fire from the Chimera and the double Stormtroopers really, really powerful. Chimera actually gets manned by the Commissar, but now it's because of the nerf recently to the Chimera, it's not shooting all his guns. You see the Ogrins do really, really decent against these Terminators. Unfortunately, they don't quite have the maximum HP to hold out here, but especially with the Vanguard teleporting in. Pig Killer's making a mistake here of not focusing the Commissar, so he actually did proc a couple of those big heals there. But the Space Marine units are just too tanky. Vanguard Veterans was an absolute brilliant choice here. Look at them tearing things to pieces. They've got all that power melee as well, so they do a lot more damage to the Ogrins than Assault Space Marines can do. This is a very ballsy move here with Angels of Death. I think the Vanguards are way too weak, and again, that Commissar is healing the Ogrins like mad. Wow, and he's not even been forced off yet. This is really, really next level play with the aura of discipline. I really like this. You don't see this war gear very often. And what you can do is, when you've got stubbornness and the aura of discipline, you can rotate between them. So he has the aura of discipline right now, and he stays just near the Ogrins to heal them up. Then when they're full HP, he can swap to stubbornness and go near the Guardsman, and then the stubbornness will heal up the Commissar. And you just keep swapping constantly, so that you know, so that you're full HP on both. Damn it, the music stopped again. I need to sort this out. I don't know why the music keeps stopping. Anyway, we'll go with some in-game music for the remainder of this cast then. So, some more Guardsmen coming out for Feg. Going for the Commissar, interesting. Wow, really, you know, going quite deep with the upgrades here for the Guardsman. Plasma guns and a Commissar. I guess, I mean, literally, what else can he get at this point? He's clearly stuck in tier 2. There's no chance he's ever going to get to tier 3. He's got double Melted Stormtroopers. He's got the Ogrins. Ogrins are level 3. Oh my god, 2,300 HP. I feel like I started mentioning it earlier. I don't know if I finished, but the Ogrins, when they go into melee combat, they actually get bonus HP regen. And that HP regen gets better and better and better every single time they level up. Oh, really nice flare coming down here. All this damage is focusing onto the Vanguard. Some nice special attacks from the Commissar. Terminator's teleporting forward, going to try and force melee onto the Chimera. Very, very dubious decision. This is terrible. All of those ranger units have got 25% higher damage because of the battle cry from the Lord Commissar. And actually, Skykiller throws in the towel there. Skykiller? What the f... Jesus Christ, Torpid. Pig Killer throws in the towel there because the Terminator is going to get wiped. All of this crazy range damage is increased, and all of it does huge damage to heavy infantry, and quite frankly the Ogre is going to chase them down. But really cool game, you know. Pig Killer put on a lot of pressure early on, and honestly I don't know how the hell he didn't secure that game. But this was one of the instances when ranged Terminators just weren't a very good choice. Ogrins were already running amok, and I'm sorry, but ranged Terminators do not counter Ogrins. In fact, you know, there is one thing that you counter ranged Terminators with. What is the counter? Melee. Tanky melee in particular. Super heavy infantry melee that's not vulnerable to their piercing DPS. So, going Terminators in tier 3 when your main threat was Ogrins, terrible choice, but you know what? It wouldn't have worked if it wasn't for the balls he plays with the Commissar, keeping him out in very dangerous positions, and some beautiful use of the Aura of Discipline, not a war gear you see very often. I like to see it. Very well done to Feg. Thanks for the game, and that is all from your boy Torpid. I'm signing out.